What is going on, guys? Clay here, back at it again with yet another edition of, you know what it is, Pantherology. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Every week, y'all tune in. It means a lot to me. But before we get into today's video, I want to give you a heads up. I am heading back to the East Coast. If you don't know, or if I don't know if I mentioned it before on my channel, my girlfriend is a travel nurse. So I travel with her because I work from home and, doing this part-time. So I will be heading back to the East Coast. I'm going to try to put out as much content as I can on the road. So please be patient with me. Also, before we get into today's video, as always, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and that subscribe button. That's good enough for me. Please leave a comment. I love to hear your thoughts. And also click that post notifications bell so you don't miss out on any new videos. Guys, make sure you check the link down in my descriptions. Go check out my Instagram, my Twitter. Also, make sure you go check out the Newsbreak app as well. That helps me out, especially over there. You helping me out over there is definitely helping me out over here in YouTube as well. So please, anything that you can do is much appreciated. Also, shout out to all the Facebook groups that I follow and I post on. Thank you for letting me post on your Facebook groups. Go check out the Carolina Panthers Den. They are one of the best and fun Carolina Panthers fan pages on Facebook. So go check them out. I love those guys. Show a lot of love to me, so I gotta give them a shout out. Other than that, let's go ahead and dive into these key matchups for the Carolina Panthers versus the Minnesota Vikings in this Week 6 matchup. Now, the first matchup I want to talk about here is the offensive guards, the Carolina Panthers, against the interior defensive line of the Minnesota Vikings. Now, John Miller was a complete and utter catastrophe. Excuse me. The veteran guard he allowed 5 hurries, 2 sacks in the game. He earned a really absurd 2.7 pass blocking rating from Pro Football Focus. Go look it up. That's how awful it was. And that grading doesn't even put it into the perspective, I think. The experiment is finished. It failed, and it's time to move on. Better to have no one at right guard and just let Brady Christensen eat double teams all day. After all, the rookie tackle was already there. So, I think it's time that we allow Deontay Brown to compete already. Nothing should be able to put Brown on the bench after that performance. And anyone would be better regardless of what has been observed in practice. As far as I'm concerned, if the Carolina Panthers do the right thing and bench Miller, even if simply to show a point, it will set up an intriguing battle against a tough Minnesota Vikings line. Now, the Vikings have always understood the value of a solid rush on the quarterback, and after a late game thrashing of the Detroit Lions, they will be salivating, that's the word I was looking for, over the Panthers' protection. They racked up 4 sacks and 7 quarterback hits. Only goes to illustrate how often the Vikings defense found themselves behind the line, overpowering both the inside and the outside of the Lions on a regular basis throughout that game. After all, Dalvin Tomlinson is no slouch by any means. So while the Lions' offensive lines haven't been the finest in recent memory, as we all know, they are clearly better than the Panthers, as everyone is this season, and that should alarm both the coaching staff and the fans. So for Panther supporters and myself, this will be a nail-biting contest all day, one that might determine the season's outcome. Because if we can't protect Sam Darnold, we'll be reenacting the New York Jets all over again. Now, my next matchup here is Adam Thielen versus Carolina Panthers CB2. So, after another dominating performance, second-year standout Justin Jefferson is the center of attention on that offense, at least at the wide receiver position. However, the Carolina Panthers, like many other teams in the past, have demonstrated that one player cannot win games, which is where Adam Thielen comes into play. Now, while the former Pro Bowl receiver has struggled with the departure of his excellent running companion, Stefan Diggs, Thielen remains a dangerous and reliable weapon in this Vikings wide receiver core. Thielen may have only had 2 receptions for 40 yards in week 5, and one of those catches came at the most crucial of times on the last drive, helping the team get into the game-winning field goal range. That is what the number 19 signifies for that team. While Jefferson is the primary target, it is Thielen who they turn to when the game is on the line. This is why the Panthers must control the small-framed receiver, something the club has battled with since J.C. Horn's injury, because even if Jefferson is shut down for the duration of the game, if Thielen is able to get open, he will make you pay. Unless the coverage is exceptional, the clutch receiver will get open. It's that easy. When you consider that the safeties will be significantly leaning towards the explosive Jefferson, it's a formula for disaster. Now, C.J. Henderson, A.J. Bouye, or anybody else must step up and minimize the damage. Thielen's performance at the most crucial times, or one huge grab, may decide the Panthers' destiny this coming Sunday. So if the Panthers can restrict Thielen, Kirk Cousins will be forced to throw the ball to Jefferson even more. We've all seen what happens when that happens. Yes, Deontay Jackson will face increased pressure, but the LSU product has more than proved capable of meeting the challenge. Now, that jumbled together corner position has been boom or fail in the previous few games, and this will be a huge litmus test for what the Panthers have there. One that will very certainly have a significant impact on the game result. Now, my next matchup here is Brady Christensen versus Everson Griffin. Now, Brady Christensen, he is a rookie, as we all know. Finally had his time to show that he was ready to start at the NFL level in week 5 and above everyone's expectations. So, with Cam Irving injured, the Carolina Panthers made the perplexing decision to move Taylor Moton to that left side. But because of that strange choice, Christensen was summoned. So while Christensen's stats aren't the best when seen in isolation, that's not the full story that we're getting. So with the previously stated catastrophe that was John Miller alongside him, Christensen stood up admirably and did not make the oh no play that you would anticipate from a young lineman. He, giving up 0 sacks in a single game is nothing to sneeze at, However, the rookie tackle was not up against the best of the crop, and that will all change on Sunday if the Panthers make a smart selection on the offensive line for once. Now, Everson Griffin has come back in a major way since returning to his old home with the Minnesota Vikings after an unexpected poor year. Griffin outmatched rookie tackle Penei Sewell all day against the Detroit Lions, a player most Panthers supporters wanted, as myself, the Panthers to sign, and was regarded as one of the finest offensive line prospects coming into that draft and maybe in NFL history. Getting sacks on back-to-back plays using 2 very different strategies, a bull rush and a finesse move. Now, most lines let alone rookies struggle with that combination of movements because you have to anticipate which tactic and direction the defender will take. If you make that incorrect decision, you'll find yourself seeing the quarterback fall to the ground before you can even blink. Now, Griffin isn't the same player anymore, but his seasoned knowledge and bag of tricks has still served him well. And this will be a nice litmus test to see how successful Christensen can be at that next level. Now, the BYU product will have to be on his toes the whole game and keep focused on what is in front of him, since being on the back foot against Griffin will not end well for anyone. Now, my next matchup here is the blitz happy defense versus this Carolina Panthers suspect offensive line. Yes, I am aware. Another side focusing on the offensive line. That's how awful things are right now. One thing is that this line is not designed if it is designed at all, to protect against a blitz. The gang as a whole is incapable of surviving a conventional 3-man rush, much alone a 4 or more. Now, Mike Zimmer, the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, will be pleased. Why wouldn't Zimmer be pleased with the defense and Sam Darnold's performance against the blitz? Despite his early season success, Darnold has demonstrated a penchant to make a terrible decision under pressure, which has been a regular occurrence in the previous 2 games and will not improve against the Vikings. Now, while Zimmer has toned it down a bit, he has earned a reputation as a blitz-first play caller, which is a win-or-go-home mindset. That may serve a team well if they have solid coverage in the backfield. That coverage, though, is meaningless if you can't get to the quarterback. So if Carolina wants to win again, they must wake up and recognize that putting their offensive line on an island is not going to work. Keeping an additional blocker back limits the team's explosiveness, but those extra playmakers are useless if you don't have time to deliver the ball to them. You keep Darnold upright and he can win games. Let him be hit frequently, and we've seen what happens. So I understand trusting your people, but if the players let you down time and time again, it may be time to provide them a helping hand. The Vikings will blitz. Not if, but when. And how the Panthers game plan reacts will determine whether they win or lose. Now, my next matchup here is the Carolina Panthers head coach, Matt Rule, versus the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, Mr. Zimmer. Whether each team's front management wants to admit it or not, Matt Rule and Mike Zimmer are both on the hot seat coming into week 6. Both coaches have presided over a series of collapses, and neither team has lived up to their expectations. So they'll be searching for a revive on Sunday. The Carolina Panthers have only scored once in the third quarter this season and appear to come up short every time, making no modifications as the game progresses. In contrast, Zimmer's squad has not scored a touchdown in the second half in 4 games, indicating a lack of urgency and changes. Above all, who can score in the second half will determine the outcome of this game. Which coach can bring his team together and start publishing the appropriate buttons in the locker room. The era of cautious play calling and a lead protection is over. Be aggressive from the start. Don't let up. If it gets you into problems, then be it. Then the effort is what matters right now. Come out of the locker room on fire and ready to finish the other team out. On the first drive, make a statement. Demonstrate your ability to play an entire game. Both Zimmer and Rule appear to take their foot off the gas as soon as they get a glimpse green on the other side of the field. That's a risky move, and it will almost come back to bite them both in week 5. It's time for these teams to put up or shut up, and this is a game with a possible job on the line. It will be interesting to observe how they individually react to the strain. So guys, that is today's video. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, before I leave you, keep pounding.